you on some more Monster Cat music and be back as the game loads in.
Is the end of the world. Activate destruction sequence 735. Brendan Mossy.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. All the players' runes are in and proper, and they are underway. The Dark Side versus the Fox Squad. TDS versus TFS. Oh my lord. So, TDS immediately pinging down this bottom side, or top side of the map as far as they're concerned, towards the enemy red buff. Immediately being mirrored, however, by the Fox Squad going in the opposite direction. But there is a ward placed right at their feet by that Lulu. And the same thing by Annie on the far side. Both of those walls, though, were spotted and are being avoided by each team. So they're trying to dodge around them, make sure they're not seen by those wards. However, the fact that they've seen them placed there has got to have told each of them. All right, so our enemy has warded this side. They're on the opposite side of the map.
So as a result,
it's just the way that everyone's been going. Yeah.
It's like, all right, now we can rotate, because if they put that ward there, it means that they're probably invading into our side, because that's just kind of how it works out. Even though, very possibly, TDS could have been in the brush that TFS just walked into, all 5 of them, and just camped out and killed them. However, it's a game of it's risks. If you sit in that brush, you risk not getting any sort of vision, you risk not getting any kills if they don't show up, and if that happens, well, you lose a vision game as a result. I will say something, this is going to be a 1v1 for the Fox squad. You could tell because Zerius started Flame Spitter. Now, usually you'll start Electro Harpoon, even in 1v1s, but for some reason he started for that Flame Spitter build.
It's going to be a 1v1? Look at where those Lulu... Oh, okay, Lulu changed their mind, now they've spotted the ward. That ward, that lane top ward that was placed at the top of the red side jungle, spotted Vayne heading in that direction, and Lulu and Caitlyn immediately changed their mind and headed up in that top lane.
Actually, we're really going to walk in the jungle to try and get some pressure out, try and deny that red buff steal as much as possible, or at least apply a little bit of damage.
Yeah, it's trying to slow it down as much as possible. It does force the smite out of Jarvan as well. So it slowed that down ever so slightly and gave a little bit extra damage onto him, of course, for landing the stun, and planted some damage down onto his own lane opponent, Rumble, while doing all of that as well. So Caitlyn and Lulu now made their way to the top lane, but they have lost out on a couple of CS in the process, but they're putting down some good damage onto this combo from the Fox squad. As a result, now Vayne and Nani got to be very, very careful. They can be zoned off these creeps pretty easily as they're lacking quite a bit of health.
I mean, Zacian does have a lot of sustain. At the same time, Dement Clown's going to sustain quite well himself. The support's always running health potions. This is actually super dangerous now for TDS, or for TFS. If TFS don't push in like they're doing right now, they would eventually just lose to Caitlyn pressure. So they're handling the top lane situation pretty well. Now, Crazy Cap's got most of his HP back. Yellow Flash actually took a little bit of pressure as well. And Zacian chugging those health potions is doing fine. Also, something dangerous bot lane is Zerius started Flame Spitter, Jax started Counter-Strike to go for the jungle harass. As a result, Zerius has just been able to constantly go aggressive onto Jax, and because Jax hasn't had either his empowered strike to reset his auto attack or leap strike just for extra burst, Rumble is taking complete control of the lane. Normally you can see Jax decently trade at level 1, but Counter-Strike has such a long cooldown and also a pretty decent mana cost that Warrior Lady hasn't been able to do a whole lot in the bot lane.
He should be hitting level 3 shortly, however, with those creeps hit the tower, and that should change things. You see him start to trade back a little bit evenly once he gets the creeps out and away from his turret. A very deep ward there placed by Lulu in the top lane, making sure he can see as much of Jarvan as possible. You see both the mid laners just trading backwards and forwards, a little bit of a love tap between the two. There's a great condemn comes out from Vayne, straight onto Lulu. She was planting that ward just as Jarvan arrived. He's forced to flash out from Lulu. The red buff tick's not going to be enough though in that last second shield. Dement Clown saves his own life.
Well played by Dement Clown. He didn't want to put down the vision ward just quite yet, and decided, alright, I'm going to be the vision ward myself, and we're just constantly camping out in that brush, which was the only possible option for a Jarvan gank. And he spotted it out. At the same time, TFS trying to go for the initiation. Unfortunately, Annie did not quite have the stun available. Actually, initiation on the mid lane is now Lapras just taken down incredibly low. There's at least looking for a possible finisher, but it doesn't land the stun.
It's very, very close, but that minion was there in the way. Now Warrior Lady's got level 4. Gets that Counter-Strike up, but Zerius dodges away from it. Starting to bully back in that lane, and he gets the stun down onto Caitlyn just to keep her a little bit occupied, as Lulu, of course, is no longer there after that gank. She has to leave the lane.
God, Lapras mid lane. I mean,
he's getting bullied a lot right now, but Jarvan's coming in to try and deal with it. Playful Trick has already been used, but Fizz can just easily run on after, and if Lapras had chased that, he'd have just got killed by Fizz.
It would have just been the auto attack. Not even a skill at that point, especially because of the dot. It does scale based off missing health percentage. Rumble versus Jax is kind of evolving in a very comical way. Rumble's able to pressure Jax quite a bit, but Flame Spitter is very good at denying your own CS as Rumble, because the constant damage is incredibly low, but it does kind of push a lot of CS to die as you're trying to get it. So as a result, the lane CS is very even. Rumble has a slight advantage, but the wave is built up quite well for Jax to catch at his own turret. And it's actually kind of an even lane, which is scary for Rumble, because eventually, especially once Jax is level 6, it's a very easy lane for Jax to apply pressure, back on out, and then start going for kills after just getting a little bit of burst down. Zerius in a bit of danger as Elise has headed down there, though.
Oh, we do see the stun comes out from Warrior Lady. Here's Elise. She goes into Spider form for that move speed boost. Needs to get back out of it and into human form for a stun soon. Gonna chase him into the bush in the bottom lane. The Spiderling comes out. Another leap from Warrior Lady, and there's the first blood over to Jax.
A solid gank. Zerius trying to delay that as long as possible. He held the flash because he thought maybe he could survive Kinky Baron's follow-up damage because Kinky Baron, having just left Spider form, would have had to wait for that short cooldown. However, it's a short cooldown, and as a result, Zerius is still being taken down. Got a little bit greedy with the flash there, and sometimes Rumble, you just can't push up that hard. Grab Shield is a good escape. It was very close, but just not quite. Now, top lane, getting a little bit scary once again for TFS. Now they're suffering the Caitlyn pressure. They're constantly being pushed in. Once the CS gets underneath their own turret, if it's a big wave, it can be very difficult to get every CS. So look for Yellow Flash just to focus on getting every single CS. The Night Cloud to constantly push, and this just means that TFS, Crazy Caps, and Zykian will have to hang on back, miss a bit of CS every now and then, and just focus on that. As Lapras in danger mid lane.
Yeah, chase him straight in, but the last quick body slam gets him back under his own turret. Did have to blow his flash though, and to be honest, because Ninja Blast didn't have his ignite, that may have been what kept him alive there. If that ignite was up, Gragas was looking in a terrifying position.
With Gragas now falling further and further behind, you don't see that happen a lot versus Fizz, just because Gragas' base auto attack damage with Drunken Rage is so high. And he can also out-trade Fizz in auto attack wards because of the attack speed slow on barrel roll. But now that Fizz has taken control of the lane, Gragas actually getting some backup from Jarvan. Jarvan can try and land his combo.
Oh, dodges it, or misses the combo straight up. Fizz didn't even have to do much to dodge it. Yeah, waited, timed it perfectly, trying to bait out that playful Trickster, and they did so with the body slam, but still couldn't land the knock-up afterwards.
He timed it perfectly to hit Fizz when he landed, but that's actually not enough time to see where Fizz is going. So it was very well timed, but unfortunately, the way he timed it, it was a guessing game. Still, even with that backup from Jarvan, Gragas still having a lot of trouble mid lane. He'll eventually be able to wave clear it just to have a safe time in mid, just constantly clear out the range minions and the melees after just 1 or 2 barrels. But until he can do so, until he can just one-shot the range minions, you will see Ninja Blast constantly just hanging around Gragas, sticking to him, making sure that he's not getting any auto attack CS if possible. And because Fizz does have a good auto attack himself because of his Harpoon Strike, then it's going to be very difficult for Gragas to kind of match that up. It's a lot of constant damage from Fizz. The C-Stone Trident is very effective in those auto attack trades, especially when he's ahead.
So, TFS sitting there in the top lane, Annie with her stun, keeping an eye on these two. We do have honestly nothing on either of these AD carries at the moment. Neither of them are back to shop. Oh, but Annie's just taking that off from Caitlyn's going to put her way too low to try any kind of engage. See the blue buffs passed over towards Fizz in the mid lane. Interesting first buy from him. Straight onto a blasting wand instead of any double Dorans or a Sheen or anything like that we've seen out of many other Fizzes. So definitely trying to get that aggression down early. He knows he can land these trades back and forwards in Gragas and isn't really being punished for them. He wants to make the most of it. Oh, tumble forward from Vayne in the top lane, straight into a stun from Elise. Beautiful Tibbers comes out and hits all 3 members of the dark side top lane. And that allows Vayne to get back out and safe. But in the mid lane now we see the fish come out from Fizz. He does get hit by the Gragas barrel and that last body slam. Passes over that kill. Caitlyn also managed to finish off the kill onto Annie in the top lane. Vayne had already backed out and recalled, but Annie's sticking around. Cost her life.
That Ninja Blast, I gotta say, Ninja Blast, thinking he could do it, thinking he could 1v1 the Gragas, but without minions to help mitigate some of that body slam damage. That's when Gragas, regardless of lane CS, will just destroy anybody. The constant body slam damage, which at this point, even though it's a rank 1 body slam, it's still dealing about 170 damage on 5.5 second cooldown. So you factor that in, you factor the fact that Fizz was trying to do that without anything to mitigate that 170 damage, and as a result, just getting chunked down and destroyed. Top turret goes down in favor of Dragon for TDS. I gotta say, I like that trade. They got the kill, they gave it Dragon, but regardless, had Fizz not died, it would have been fantastic for them. It was kind of a side thing that Fizz went down as well. And actually, this is kind of interesting. Yellow Flash and Dement Cloud not going bot lane. They're going top. They're going to focus on pressuring down Crazy Caps and Zykian. They don't want to give any free space to a TFS to farm up their heavy hyper carry. If they do give them that free space, they could take turrets in response, but I guess they are just scared of Crazy Caps outscaling. Jack's bot lane is also still doing pretty well versus Rumble, 68 CS to 64. And as a result, if it's just a farm fest for them bot lane, they outscale there. So the lane that is a farm fest for them, they're keeping it like that. The lane that has a lot of pressure involved, they're just going to go ahead and keep applying it just so they can keep their AD carry above TFS's. But Andy and Gragas are headed top.
Yeah, and we've got that Cutlass up now on Vayne too, so she's got that slight power spike that she didn't have before. Maybe a little bit more convincing, a little more aggressive. We do, however, see Elise and Fizz looking up to try and cut Gragas off, so he has to go over the Baron pit.
Yeah, there's definitely some odd rotation as there's a lot of vision on the top side of the map for both teams, so just getting there is difficult. Fizz does toss down to some of the waters, unfortunately.
Oh, we do get sorry, comes out from Rumble in the bottom lane. He flashes onto Jax, but immediately gets blocked by the creeps. Has to turn around and run the other way, and ultimately he learned a lot there. Ignite, flash, and ult for nothing. Jax, he ghosted, but that's about it. And now in fact, Jax is trying to turn on him. Jax goes back in, he uses the counter-strike for the stun, uses his own Ignite, and with one more attack, down goes Rumble. I mean, very big misplay there. Very big.
He was close to getting the kill, but unfortunately it's not enough burst damage. Now Zykion looking for that initiation, does have flash available, but can be a bit risky as Jarvan just a bit too far back. TFS is going for that CS, and now Lapras
in the mid lane.
Slam.
Forced to flash away from that stun. However, the follow-up playful trickster still comes out from Fizz. He's not going to chase Gragas under tower after he body slams that way, though.
What could happen if you chase a Gragas underneath the turret? Nothing bad could happen with that one, Panky. It looks like the dive might be going on top lane.
Do get Jarvan EQs forward. He misses the actual knock-up on Lulu, but he uses ult and catches her in there instead. Caitlyn uses her 90 caliber net to get out to safety, but Lulu does not have that luxury, and she will fall down. Elise shows up there with a smite, smites Tivers away, and then forces TFS to back off that turret.
Oddly enough, I do love any situation where Tibbers gets smote, just because it equals out the trade a lot. I believe he's worth 50 gold, so alright, definitely an advantage to TFS, but it does equalize the gold quite a bit to pick up that just random 50 from Tibbers. However, that was a solid dive. Only being able to pick up Lulu is unfortunate, and they don't get any pressure out of it because Elise and Caitlyn was still around. So it's an alright pickup. It is just gold, though. You compare that to the turret that's already gone down top lane, and they do want that map control. Now, though, TFS, they're finally going to have, at least for a brief moment, their 2v1 lane. Crazy Caps and Zykion going bot lane. Caitlyn's still farming up top side because the turret minions were so pushed to the turret. That makes sense for her to get that much farm. Is now Baron taking a lot of damage mid lane.
Oh, beautiful repel takes him away from that Gragas ultimate. The other thing, of course, if you smite Tibbers away, it's not 50 gold, it's 60 gold because you have the bonus 10.
Yeah, the mastery. It's efficient use of the mastery too, using it off cooldown.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, a little bit extra there. Why not use it? And, well, the gold is ever so slightly in the dark side's favor at the moment. Only by about 300 though, so it's not too big of a deal.
That 2v1 lane, it lasted for a good 15 or so seconds, and Lulu already roaming bot lane. They can maybe catch up Zykion and go for initiation here, as a lot of members of TDS are headed bot.
Yeah, there's 4 of them. Demented Clown goes forward, does get the slowdown, but everyone else has already changed their mind, so it is just a little bit of harass damage. Fizz, got to be careful not to get caught by Gragas on his way back in, but Gragas doesn't realize he has help of Elise. They're both going to go in onto the Gragas. He will body slam over the wall, but immediately followed by the flash and the repel. Body slams back in the other direction now. Does not matter. Kill goes to Fizz.
I love the team comp from TDS because if there's any team that Gragas cannot escape from, it is a Fizz Elise combination. I mean, had he had flash available, maybe he could have barely gotten out of there, but he was actually down to blast.
Misses completely. He's not been on the ball planting those down today.
No, and there's not really a good target quite often for those Rumble ults. Even if he does hit actually initiation bot lane.
Tibbers in the bottom lane. Media flash away from poor Caitlyn, but she's down all the same. Demented Clown now in a horrible position as Vayne managed to position herself between Lulu and safety. She grabs herself a double kill.
That's solid initiation. I mean, that is an issue Lulu has. Once Lulu was just kind of sitting to the side watching Caitlyn get attacked, all she could do was pop the ultimate, but in a 2v2 fight like that, where it's both range versus range, Crazy Caps and Zykion weren't really affected by Lulu's ultimate. It's just more HP to go through. But if there's any AD champion that does not care about additional HP, it's going to be someone like Vayne with the True Silver Bolt scaling damage. So unfortunate there, you can kind of see like the issue with a Lulu pick nowadays. It doesn't do a whole lot in quite a few situations. Ares up top lane taking a little bit of harass though from Jax, just being chased out of lane. as those empowered strikes just chunking him down. I mean, Jax, once he gets ahead of Rumble, especially post level 9, because Jax has so much scaling, Rumble has really high sustained damage. But that's sustained damage. That means you're sitting there fighting a Jax 1v1, tossing out that flame spitter, and Jax just does not care. So as a result, it's very easy.
Straight into the Kinky Baron. Yeah, it was in a warded push, they weren't too sure. Jax is going to be on his Trinity Force pretty soon, but because he's pushing that tier 2 turret in the top lane, the Fox squad using this as an opportunity to start the Dragon. Jarvan does manage to smite it away while Annie kills off that last ward. Fizz and Elise pushing down this mid turret while that's happening. Might just be able to pick it up before they come back in, but nope. TFS managed to rotate back around towards the Dragon, towards that mid lane and kill off the creeps in the process, thus freeing that mid turret from the punishment. Vayne going across towards blue buff, and with Gragas, Barrels and Jarvan there now, they've got more than enough to defend this middle tower. In fact, Gragas going to hold them back in towards the turret. Lulu's got the tower aggro, she will fall. 2v3, TFS pick themselves up a quick kill.
They're picking up a lot of quick kills across the map. With their very, very bursty initiation, you know, it's the Gragas ultimate, it's the anti-stun, it's the Jarvan Cataclysm. It's very easy for TDS to be caught off guard. I mean, that was a 3v2 essentially. It's actually now Warrior Lady caught up topside.
Yeah, Rumble ult this time landed a bit better, forced him in the opposite direction. Just get the counter strike down, but Crazy Caps is there, and with one lost empowered auto attack, Rumble gets the kill. Fizz now in the mid lane, diving onto Jarvan between the tier 2 turret. Elise is there as well, but Gragas manages to dodge away from that stun and save his own life.
Looking for
oh, beautiful! Tibbers comes in from Annie. She flashes across, stuns 2 of them. Gragas has to come back in, flash body slam the extra damage on the Kinky Baron. Stun hits Annie instead. Last barrel's not enough, but with an Incinerate coming out of Annie, it is. Fizz now looking to chase onto that little girl. Can't quite grab her though. And has to switch up for Tibbers instead.
Last second stun coming out from Annie, actually saving Lapras at the very end there. 90 caliber net is a disengage that can be CC'd, it's stunned and interrupted as a result. And that last second stun, I heard the sound of the net go off, like the Caitlyn ooh sound. And it was nothing, no movement at all because of how well timed that stun was, completely blocking it out. Topside Zeria's and Crazy Caps able to take that top turret pressure down towards the second top turret, getting a little bit of damage down, but nothing too serious, still at about 1700 HP. I mean, TFS, they are by no means guaranteed any sort of control from these past engagements, but now that they have the top turret down, now that they have, you know, equal turret count, the Dragon advantage, and the fact that Vayne is now 3-0-1 is scaling really, really well into the mid game, it's getting a little bit scary for TDS, and TDS, I think their issue is the initiation isn't as solid. Gragas ultimate, Rumble ultimate, even if they're not necessarily the best initiations quite often, but you know, they usually work pretty well, and as well as the anti-stun. It's so hard to deal with in any sort of straight up 5v5 or just lineup situation. So if TFS starts going for pushes, if TDS ever kind of moves forward themselves, just looking aggressive, looking for something, it's very likely that Gragas can land one ultimate and then, you know, pick off Yellow Flash, pick off Warrior Lady. The attack speed slow on Jax is huge in reducing his damage.
So, Fizz constantly pushing that mid lane up with help from Lulu, rotating around, planting some deeper wards, looking for some vision. Do you see? And he's hiding in this bush. Gets the stun out, but ultimately not too much for Fizz to worry about. But immediately plants a pink and kills the ward that Fizz was there for. Red buff handed over to Caitlyn. Vayne in that top lane with Jarvan, looking to keep Jax busy and keep him off that tier 2 tower. He's already lost a fair bit of health.
And now the question is, what does TFS do to expand their lead? Are they going to go ahead, just kind of farm it up a bit, and let Vayne get more CS? Not a horrible idea. Vayne farming is always a good thing. Are they going to start looking towards more pushes? You can see that they have right now 3 members in the mid lane, and actually rotating now Crazy Caps and Jarvan just start pushing towards that bottom turret or mid turret. And this is a really good power play because Jax, while he does have his Trinity Force, doesn't have the Blade of the Rune King. And Vayne, because she's ranged, can usually get away with having a little bit less than Jax. But actually, Vayne going back top lane, it's going to be very dangerous. It's very easy for Jax just to kill Vayne outright.
Well, we're about to find out exactly as they do. We do see the Blade of the Rune King used for the movement speed. Condemned doesn't quite land in time for the counter-strike proc, but the barrier's there. One last tumble, and it is going to be enough thanks to the Silver Bells proc. Vayne 1v1's down that Jax.
I mean, solid disengage. It was very close for a second there, especially with that stun landing as the Condemn went out, so Vayne really couldn't escape from that. However, by juking back into the brush, it meant that Jax had to finally chase into the brush himself, and as a result could not get the vision he desperately needed to actually pick off Vayne there with a leap strike and power combo. So really good disengage from Crazy Caps. That is a risky fight. Crazy Caps is 4-0-1. He does have a little bit more gold in his coffers. But regardless, anytime any AD carry, even Vayne, who has great disengage, goes up against Jax 1v1, it can so easily just turn horrible for her. And if Vayne can keep 1v1ing Jax, you know what? There's no reason not to keep doing it, as now Vayne's going to go ahead, spend, let's see, the 1,300 gold in the inventory, finish up that Phantom Dancer, and even get stronger at these 1v1 fights.
So, 4 members of TDS group in the mid lane, but just clear the wave and back away again. Nothing too crazy yet. Got a lot of wards surrounding that middle area of the map. You can see that Gragas and Jarvan are alone, but they're not willing to really push that home, as that combo alone has picked up a couple of very, very powerful kills. Very quick kills too. But Dragon is also spawning in about 45 seconds, so TDS know they want to stay safe, keep their gold count, and not give too much up for that Drake kill. However, they may have just handed away a free tower to the Fox squad. Fox squad now rotate down towards the Drake themselves. They want to get control of it, plant some wards down. 25 seconds, and of course get that Jax away from their bottom tier 1 turret, which they have now successfully completed. And we're going to go down there and clean the rest of the minions off there himself. Gragas going to base. He's got 15 seconds to base and get back out onto the map. There should be more than enough time, especially with the rest of his team there to delay the attempt. Jarvan EQ combo away to safety. Do not want to risk getting caught out at all. But has to bring in reinforcements to keep the pressure off this tier 2 middle turret. There's the Dragon alive now, and the dark side immediately start making their way across towards it.
This is going to be terrifying because this is an initiation for Lapras. This is built for a Gragas barrel. If everybody does group up to take down that Dragon. However, you can see TDS immediately just running out of the area. They know that Gragas initiation is going to destroy them there. They'd be caught in Cataclysm as well. If one person does get isolated, they would just be immediately focused down. Top lane is pushing very, very hard for TFS, so a lot of minions and a lot of gold being denied to TDS right now. And I like this. They're moving forward. They just have to watch out for a good chum of the waters, possibly onto Annie.
So, see them looking to almost threaten to complete this chase. TFS toying with the TDS squad. They have no vision of the Dragon itself. So as far as TDS know, it could already be dead. TFS go back in. There's this Caitlyn trap over the wall because they do get vision of the trap that way. Flash forward comes out from release. There's the smite way too early. Jarvan managed to get his smite off and easily gets the Dragon kill. Good rumble on the backside of the fight. Gragas is being dealt with by Fizz. Fizz is forced to back on away. There are lots of low health members of the dark side. Fizz forces a flash out of Lapras, but is now horribly exposed. Elise goes down as soon as she comes out of the repel. Double kill for Vayne as she picks up Fizz as well. The remaining members of TDS are safely walking out on their own. I say that actually. Annie and Rumble closing in onto Yellow Flash. He may have outstayed his welcome. Good 90 caliber net though keeps him busy and away from Rumble, but sloppy fire from TDS ultimately. Very split up and allowed themselves to get focused down by the Fox squad.
I mean, that was a huge ultimate from Shaft playing Jarvan. He landed the Cataclysm, and then Xerius was able to follow that up with the Rumble ultimate, the Equalizer, and the entire backline for TDS just immediately flashed back offensively. Yellow Flash in danger mid lane, not going to survive this one. Very easily picked off. As just getting hit by any sort of CC, especially with a Vayne around you, you're going to die in that 1v3 situation. Now Jax looking for some initiation, trying to get something back for his team.
Yeah, diving in, there's turn damage coming out from Elise. Quick spider in amongst all that too, but once the turret echo is there onto Rumble, they have to back away, even though that turret is so incredibly low. We've seen teams tunnel vision down. Oh, that last little bit of health, that last auto attack, it's lost the game for it, or lost such a huge advantage that they start to snowball their opponents for one tiny little tower attack.
I mean, in the end, it's 750 gold and a little bit of map control. So that turret, it's so easy to pick off that they can, the next time they show up, it doesn't really defend anything. Like, minions will barely keep that turret alive as it has a whopping 42 HP alive. So TDS either have to babysit it, or in the end, it really doesn't provide any advantage. And you're right, a lot of teams will throw going for that one auto attack, and it's A, a little bit funny every time, and B, also a huge mistake to be making.
It's a little bit funny from some point of view, but it's also incredibly depressing in other actions. So I'm glad they didn't do it this time around. It is greed. Greed throws games. I mean, Annie can just walk up there now, plant a ward pink ward in that Wraith crossover bush that Rumble's about to walk into. Kill their enemy ward and then walk around the corner, attack it and walk away again. That's all it's going to take if they really want that. But she could also do that without getting into any trouble. She timed it right, as opposed to hanging around there earlier on. That could have lost them the game. You do see the Kinky Baron coming to and he comes out with a stun. Tibbers onto Elise's head. There's the Lulu ultimate. Nice ult comes out from Rumble, really separating the team. The Kinky Baron still alive. Gragas almost does a huge amount of damage to both Lulu, Caitlyn, and Elise will die from it. Now, Ninja Blast is exposed, gets stunned up by Annie. Double kill for Gragas. Rumble's trying to stay alive, and he has successfully done so. Lulu, though, still incredibly low now, has to run back to her own base. And here is Annie coming around the corner. Tibbers in tow. She should be able to easily pick up that tower. There we go.
And unfortunately for Caitlyn, trying to pick up the areas with the Caitlyn ultimate, caught that 220 HP scrap shield on a very short cooldown, going to keep Rumble alive in a lot of situations, as well as the extra armor from the Seeker's arm guard. The mid turret, though, just being destroyed now. Like, there's no real defense for TDS. They could try to initiate now, but without Ninja Blast up for 10 seconds, they're just going to have to give up map control. Say, hey, our inhibitor is now naked, and they have to play around this now. We've seen this before. An inhibitor that is exposed, it's almost as good as dead quite often if a team can keep their momentum. TFS now ahead by 9,000 gold. What generally happens is they'll wait for the ultimates to come off cooldown. So Azirius still needs the equalizer, and Zykeon still needs Tibbers to come back up. But once that happens, just rotate back mid lane and pick it up. TFS are looking to set up an ambush, and especially with Ninja Blast headed bottom, this could be huge.
Oh, we get a good Gragas help pushes Lulu back. There's a stun from Annie as well. Jarvan will pick up the last attack for the kill. See Caitlyn tries the 90 caliber net away. The EQ combo has already been used by Jarvan, but it missed, but the ultimate will not. Yellow Flash cannot get out of there. Gragas picks up another kill and goes on a rampage, and there's that exposed inhibitor that's about to fall down.
Does it matter if there are no minions? Does it matter if there's no if there are champions nearby? It's a 3v5 at best. Right now, a 3v4.
And Vayne's getting a free tier 2 turret in the top lane as well.
Yeah, like they have no defense against it. It's really cool to see the ambush play coming out from TFS. Like I said, most teams play that safely, but going for just a bit more of an aggressive pickoff, they knew that someone was going to go down to that bot lane to grab all the CS that was there, and Ninja Blast, because he went for that farm, couldn't help defend his Lulu.
Shafts is a little bit exposed, has to EQ away to safety of the wall. It's given him some time to land 3 auto attacks on the turret. Fish gonna completely miss as the Fox Squad are already running away, really badly timed by Fizz. Top turret down to about half HP, and this time there was no split pushing Jax to get a turret in trade for the dark side. So a minute on the Dragon, and everyone from the Fox Squad is spending all their gold, getting some nice big items, oracles on Annie, avoid stuff on Gragas. They're going to come back out, and I expect we'll see quite the engage down and around this Dragon pit shortly.
A lot of members from TFS had a decent amount of gold to spend, and now Void Staff finished on Gragas. That's going to be tremendous for us. And what little magic resist there was on TDS is going to be relevant to him. Vayne now has a Quicksilver Sash. I like this build. BF Sword as well to go along. You know, always want to get more damage, but that Quicksilver Sash is going to be very imperative in keeping her alive versus any sort of stray Elise cocoon. Dodge the Chum the Waters fish. And actually, Vayne is someone that's very good at that, because the fish lands, she drops it with a Quicksilver Sash and then tumbles out of the area of effect. So very little loss and very little done by Fizz if he does land to Chum the Waters on the Vayne now. So this is huge for TFS. They have a lot of control. Vayne really doesn't have anything to die to. She has to get hit by multiple CCs, and none of it's reliable.
So they put the pressure back on this top lane again. Starting to whittle away some more health off this turret. Creep wave's gone. Tibbers is waiting, and he's got that stun standing. Here comes the next wave of creeps. Have they got what it takes to finish off this turret, or will we see the dark side fighting a full-on engage? Ultimate comes out from Caitlyn, lands onto Annie. There's a good 3-man stun coming out from Jax, but he immediately gets condemned. Fish ultimate is there in onto Jarvan. Not ideal, but the EQ knockout will fail. He's going to ult in and catch 3 people instead. Rumble ultimate has a great bit of placement, catching both Jax and Fizz, but Gragas picks up a very quick triple kill with some incredible ultimates and barrel placements, and he picks up a quadra kill. Jarvan will finish off that Fizz, but ultimately the Fox Squad have just rounded out the first game.
I mean, the Fox Squad, they had some issues early on, but they got that control, and nothing TDS could do to get close from them. Into their initiation, their ambushes, their traps, they played smart, they played aggressively, and I love that kind of style of play. Now gone 1-0 in groups. This is, of course, group stage, so if you are a TDS fan, we'll see at least 2 more games from them. now Fox Squad, leading the group 1-0. This is a good position to be in. They've got the control of the group. They can win their games and definitely set themselves up to advance, 2-1, 3-0.
Yeah, it was a very comfortable game for him too, especially watching Vayne 1v1 down that Jackson in the top lane. We did not expect that to happen, but he did not seem to really break a sweat doing it at all. Very comfortable in that action. So we're going to go and have another very short break while we get the next game lined up. We have, of course, got two more teams you're yet to see in this group. One of them will be in the next game, playing against this team's winners. Team Dignitas UK up against the Fox Sound. Why have I been calling the Fox Squad the entire time? They're the Fox Sound. Oh my god, I'm terrible.
I think Fox Squad sounds really funny, though.
It does sound really funny, actually, yeah.
Like,